I had a great start to the weekend. As I was telling Sonia, I left the Dream Factory on Friday night, stopped at Woolies to get a few things on the way home, casually walking down the aisle, where they have the soap and the toothpaste and the shampoo. Next thing, like a scene from a Three Stooges movie, I'm A over T, groceries go flying everywhere, completely stacked it, and I'm on the floor, landing quite heavily on my knee. Long story short, turns out that there was, get this, a rogue grape in the toiletries aisle, and apparently it had my name on it. My knee's still a bit tender today, no major damage, thankfully, and to their credit, the store manager did ring me yesterday to follow up. But what are your rights in a situation like that, should you find yourself spread eagle in aisle 4? Mal Byrne is a personal injury lawyer with Tyndall Gask Bentley. Mal, good to talk to you this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Who knew that a pesky grape could be so dangerous?
Well, the grape is to the supermarket floor like the leopard is to the Serengeti. It's very dangerous.
How often does this sort of thing happen?
Well, it happens because people might pick up a bunch of grapes and try one or accidentally knock one off, or often when the staff member's stocking the shelves, that one just escapes from a bunch, and if you put your foot on a rogue grape on tiled floor, well, you're gonna slide and fall.
I can attest to that, Your Honour. Yes, absolutely. So, what should you do in a situation like this in terms of covering yourself legally?
Well, if you're injured, you should call a staff member. Make sure that firstly get them to clean up the area or put out one of those yellow cones just to warn people not to go near that area. But if you have any sort of injury, really you should fill out make sure they fill out an incident report so that the incident is recorded. And if you're really with it, you should probably take a photo. If you've got your mobile, get your phone out and take a photo of the rogue grape or the mark area where you've fallen, just so that it's recorded.
So it's important to report the incident first and foremost, should you need to follow it up if the injury has been substantial. And you might necessarily know at the time how badly injured you've been. So 24 or 48 hours later when your knee or your elbow comes up, and might require a trip to the doctor or a physio or whatever, it's important to have this recorded at the store.
It is. Many people, if they have quite a bad fall, they're in shock initially, and also they're embarrassed, like yourself. And the last thing they want to do is make a big deal about it. But quite often, that sore knee might swell up the next few days, or the little bit of back pain that you have when you start might turn out to be something much worse. So it's important to get the incident on the record, and if you're sort of savvy enough to get a photo, get as much evidence as you can at the time, just in case you need it later on.
What sort of duty of care does management have in a supermarket like this? How often should they be checking the floors? They can't be there all the time, just keeping an eye out for grapes or other things that might spill.
No, they need to check the floor every 20 to 30 minutes, especially the danger zones, like the fruit and veg area where your stray grape or mushroom gets knocked around, or the trolley bay area. I find is a very dangerous area, particularly on wet days. The staff members will pull the trolleys in from the car park and just wheel them to the trolley bay area with dripping with water, and not take much account of the stray water that's there. And also, the refrigerated areas where you've got your ice, which might melt and get a bit of condensation on the floor. I've had a client slip where a staff member's been stocking the frozen veg area, and the ice has been flicked onto the floor, and she's just walked past and come across us. So
it's amazing how little it can take. In fact, the person that I reported this to at the service desk said she'd gone sliding on a rogue nut. So,
yes.
And if you're falling and you're doing reasonable speed, you can get into trouble pretty smartly. Mal Byrne is with us, personal injury lawyer from Tyndall Gask Bentley. We're talking about supermarket accidents and slips and slides and what you can do about them. You hear, Mal, on occasion, people getting tens of thousands in damages for stacking it in the supermarket. What would you need to prove to get that sort of payout?
You'd have to have a significant injury, but firstly, you need to prove that the supermarket didn't have that system of cleaning in place. And that if they had that system of cleaning in place, you wouldn't have fallen. But to get that sort of compensation as well, you'd need to have suffered a significant injury, and some people can. If you go right up in the air and particularly people land on their coccyx, or they land on an elbow, they'll put a hand out to break their fall and hurt their wrist. And if you're a particular tradesman or someone who's doing sort of heavy work, and you can't work for a significant period because of your injury, or may even have a permanent injury, which some people do pick up from these types of falls, well, that can be a substantial claim in terms of lost wages.
A couple of people on the text line saying it comes down to your own carelessness when these sort of things happen. I mean, I wasn't being vigilant for lost grapes at that part of the department store or the supermarket. That's fair enough to say that. But, you know, these things happen and you can get quite badly injured. I was lucky, just got a bit of a sore knee. Someone else says on the text line, "Hi, Michael, sorry to hear about your fall. I can sympathise. I did the same thing but on a shonky footpath. Ended up with a broken arm." How solid a case would you need, Mal, before you take on a supermarket? Because this would all be on CCTV too, which is funny for their Christmas party, I suppose.
Yes, well, sometimes it's caught on footage, and that helps prove that it happened, and quite often can help prove the substance on which you fell. But the real issue is the system of cleaning, and it's my experience that many supermarkets don't have that system of cleaning in place. You know, when they get a spill reported, they'll go and attend to it and put the wet floor sign out. But generally, they're not regularly checking the floors like they're supposed to.
All right, so keep your eyes peeled and make a report if it happens to you, is the bottom line on all of this.
And I think the courts also recognise that when people are doing food shopping, they're not looking down at the floor, they're looking at the shelves. And you know, the supermarkets make a lot of profit, so you know, the courts expect them to invest some money, I think, in making sure that their supermarkets are as safe as they can for their customers.
And frustratingly, in the situation on Friday night, the assistant that I spoke to said, "Oh, someone else slipped on a grape there earlier tonight." I said, "Well,
yeah,
maybe you should have cleaned the area up, love."
That's
All right,
right.
Mal, thank you. Appreciate your time.
No worries, thanks, Mike.
Mal Byrne, personal injury lawyer with